Whatever. I'm turning my lights down. My bad. My fault. My fault. My fault. My fault. Hold on. Let me turn.
Donations. Donations. Donations.
Fat nose, Indian, day out, broke, inconsistent, not ok. You're lucky you packin' or else I would have left your.
Alright, I'm muting this. Weird. Flight 123.
Aboard a Japanese passenger flight on the 12th of August 1985, an alarm begins to sound.
I was 7 years old.
Unbeknownst to the pilots, the plane had just undergone a rapid decompression, leaving them scrambling to get the aircraft under control. Over and over, they attempt to maneuver the plane back home. However, nothing they try seems to work. The airplane is completely unresponsive, yet the over 500 passengers on it have no idea just how dire their situation truly is. On this aircraft, a structural component has undergone a catastrophic failure. A failure caused by a near-decade-long oversight, and a failure that would lead to what is now known as the single worst disaster in global aviation history.
Plane going down. Might just jump out, bro, and survive. Just might.
Tonight's video is sponsored by Incogni. As we move towards an increasingly interconnected world, the idea of online privacy becomes more and more imperative. Every day, data brokers are scraping data from you and are building a personal profile of your entire life.
I don't know. I'm from where it started. India.
It's Monday.
50. Subs.
It's Russia.
Lock in. Lock in. Damn.
It's the week of Oben, a Japanese tradition in which they honor their fallen ancestors, and thousands are scrambling through Haneda Airport to get home to their families. At 6 p.m., Japan Airlines Flight 123 prepares for its 5th flight of the day. This one is full, traveling from Tokyo to Osaka a little under an hour away. On this day, 49-year-old Captain Masami Takahama is training as co-pilot 39-year-old Yutaka Sasaki in a Boeing 747. The two are joined by a 46-year-old flight engineer named Hiroshi Fukuda in the cockpit, and 521 others awaiting this trip in the flight's main cabin. In every sense, this flight is entirely routine. All is going to plan, and they're just a few minutes behind schedule.
Wait. Never mind.
Japan Airlines Flight 123 takes off at 6:12 p.m.
Okay.
And as the aircraft powers through the clouds, the passengers look out of their windows to a Tokyo slowly fading. 12 minutes in, and they're nearing the cruising altitude of 24,000 feet. And just as everyone's getting settled in,
boy, I would have shit myself. I would have shit myself. Oh my God.
At 6:25 p.m., there's a
Not
deafening
even,
bang
bro,
to
not
the
even
rear
15
as the
minutes.
bathroom ceiling collapses.
Oh my, I would
A
have been.
blinding white light flashes. The water vapor in the air condenses to a fog, and the oxygen masks fall in front of disoriented passengers. All of this happens in a matter of seconds, sending everyone on board into an unbridled panic.
Put out your cigarette. This is an emergency system.
Cigarettes on a plane? Damn. Cigarettes? 14 minutes into flight.
At all. Over and over, the craft nosedives thousands of feet and rapidly picks up speed before the
God.
nose naturally begins to point up, recovering the lost altitude and stalling. It again dives, ascends, dives, and ascends.
Nah, I
all
would have been
making an angle
yo, I would have
of
been
40
sitting on the
degrees
plane,
in
bruh.
direction.
Nah, motherfuckers would have already been mad that shit was falling, but I'm sorry, this whole plane aisle would have just been covered with doo-doo, bruh. Stomach drops of death.
By now, the crew is doing everything they can to make their way back to Haneda Airport for an emergency landing. Yet the aircraft is doing everything it can
Bro,
to
what?
prevent that.
Didn't you on that last plane? Hey, somebody ban that nigga for bro, why are you trying to be weird? On March 26th, 9:52 p.m. "28 minutes into the flight. Nah, this shit look controlled.
The pilots have not utilized their oxygen masks, and acute hypoxia has taken its grip. The phugoid cycle is problem number one, yet posing another threat is the ever-encroaching side-to-side roll of the aircraft. To mitigate this, the crew manages to engage the landing gear, effectively suppressing the phugoid cycle. However, over the course of the next 5 minutes, the plane descends over 10,000 feet while rolling at an angle of over 40 degrees. Effectively, they achieve a complete 360-degree downward spiral over the town of Atsuki, and are understandably losing hope as every critical second bleeds by.
Oh my God. might make it.
The plane has dropped to a mere 6,800 feet. They are now heading opposite of Haneda Airport and straight towards Mount Takamagahara.
Oh,
Over the next 5 minutes, the crew fights to gain altitude to move away from this impending threat and manages to climb again to 11,000 feet. False hope this is, however, as they find themselves in yet another downward spiral. This time, right over treacherous terrain.
damn. Rip. Damn. What do you mean, what am I doing in that situation? Dying? I don't know, bro. Maybe just get out and start flying and then hold the plane from hitting the mountain, some homeland. Oh my god, this is Don't Scream, chat.
This was the worst.
Swear for survived this. Wow.
Worst loss of life involving a single aircraft in the history of aviation.
Wow.
This incident is devastating, and the most frustrating aspect of all of this is that it did not have to turn out this way at all. You see, just 20 minutes after impact, a U.S. Air Force serviceman named Michael Antonucci spotted and phoned in the crash location. However, instead of making the call to lend support immediately, the Japanese military called off the rescue operation under the presumption that not a single passenger survived.
Wow.
For over 12 hours, the plane burned throughout the night. A handful
They
still
left them out
alive,
there to die,
and
bro.
awaiting help from numerous aircraft that passed right above them. Aircraft that saw them, yet they were
Oh my, I will be so pissed. Imagine, bro, imagine surviving a plane crash and then they're late to rescue you because they think everybody is dead. So they're just like taking their skibbity toilet ass time.
completely unaware that help
You know what I
was
mean.
never coming. One of the 4 survivors, named Yumi Ochiai, later recalled their experience from that evening, explaining how throughout the night they could hear children crying, adults screaming. It was loud at first, yet as the hours went by, these pleas slowly faded into silence. Some fell out of consciousness, some lost the energy to continue, but for the vast majority, this stillness signaled the agonizing death of lives that could have been helped.
Bro.
It took 12 hours in total for rescuers to arrive, yet by then, the scene was a gruesome graveyard. A Japanese medical doctor stated that had this rescue come 10 hours earlier, perhaps they would have found more survivors. But it was silent.
Wow, bro. What the fudge? What the fudge?
In the years following the incident, no one would fly Japan Air, resulting in the company taking a massive hit in revenue. With
I'm definitely
this,
not
both
flying
the
that
airline
shit.
and the Boeing company would pay out hundreds of millions of dollars to the victims' families over time. A reparation immaterial in the grand scheme of this tragedy. Even then, however, guilt festered in the minds of Japan Air employees, as two of them, a 59-year-old maintenance official named Hiru Tominaga and a 57-year-old inspector named Susumu Tajima, would later take their own lives, with the former leaving a note with just a single phrase. I am
Wow.
atoning with my death. In the end, investigators attributed the tragedy to improper repairs to the plane's aft pressure bulkhead, the rear component of the pressure seal present in all aircraft. It was learned that 7 years prior, the same aircraft encountered a tail strike incident during a landing, cracking the bulkhead and rendering the plane unflyable. During repair, the engineers planned to utilize a large splice plate to connect the two sides of the crack, while reinforcing it with 3 rows of solid rivets. When done correctly, this would re-establish the full structural integrity of the wall, rendering it just as safe as it was before.
But it
for
wasn't done
flight.
correctly.
In reality, however, the repair did not go this way at all. Instead of using one splice plate, Boeing's repair technicians used 2 in parallel to the crack, effectively rendering one entire section of rivets completely useless. This oversight was never discovered, and the plane flew in this condition
Wow.
over 12,000 times.
Yo. Would have sued them for everything they had, bro. I survived that. Damn.
This tragedy echoes through the lives of everyone involved and is one of the most unspeakable catastrophes that should have been prevented. It's hard to grasp the sheer horror of experiencing a plane crash, let alone surviving it. Those who did had to endure a trauma and a loss that is unimaginable. The agonizing moments afterward, crushed under wreckage, helpless under the night sky, effectively forgotten in a blazing wilderness. I feel horrible for everyone on board that fateful night, and for the families and friends that were eagerly waiting for them.
524 people dead.
Oben is typically a time of communion, an annual reconnection with seldom seen loved ones. But for the 520 victims who lost their lives that
20,
night,
120.
they were never able to finish their journey to see them. Their families awaited those that would never show, and their memory is forever stained by an incident that never should have happened.
Damn.
That night, there was nothing anyone could have done. No way they could have known. But in the wake of it all, one thing is certain. Their memory, their lives, will forever be cherished by those that loved them, and their legacy will forever endure. Until
Damn,
the end
bro.
of time.
Sad ass video. Fuck. Never hopping on a plane again.